You know that feeling you get when you're walking home late at night and you feel like someone's following you? Is it that crazy ex you dumped via text for a more attractive sister? Is it Gaz following you because he's forgot where he lives? Either way, you keep checking over your shoulder to try and catch a glimpse of who's giving you the willies. What if someone made a video game out of that feeling? Well, someone did, and it is terrifying. Out of all the games I've played in this Halloween event, this is by far the most unsettling. Slender, The Arrival, is based on maybe the most famous creepypasta. Pasta? Anyway, originally submitted in a short story contest, the backstory is based on a tall man in a suit relentlessly hunting down children since the news of the two teens who blamed old Slendy, IRL, for the murders they committed. He is being catapulted into the mainstream. This spouted a Hollywood film, which I've heard is terrible and undoes all the backstory and genuine horror of the ethos. I have somewhat of an affinity with Slender Man, as he is bold and he hides in the bushes preying on unsuspecting victims, but we all have hobbies that keep us happy, so let's not worry about that. The game is like any first person survivor horror game. It uses the video cam torch mechanic. I know a lot of games use this, but I think it's just because it works. It restricts your view and the light and cast shadows that give you that mini jump that make you think you're seeing things that you're not. The game starts off tame, with a nice light walk through the forest and the glorious sunset. The graphics are nothing to write home about, but people that moan about graphics over atmosphere and gameplay can be impaled by one of Slendy's tentacle arms. The tone suddenly shifts as night falls, and out of the distance a house comes into view. Walking through the backyard seeing young children's playthings really sends shivers down your spine. You quickly find out that the house has been abandoned due to missing children and the constant visits from a friendly neighbourhood Slender Man. You can see around the game posts for missing children, and the theme of loss and innocence drenches the world. The house is super creepy.
Casey was baseball man, had the fever and had it bad.
And even though I read that Slender Man can't enter the house, that didn't stop the prick from making me jump. You are still always feeling there's a jump scare waiting for you in the next room. After finding a key to a locked bedroom upstairs, you find yourself in a young girl's room. Kate appears to be a victim of Slender Man, judged by the pictures she has drawn all over her walls. In and around her room, you start to see a descent into madness, and by picking up optional notes and emails along the way, you will find out how things went so wrong. There is a drawing of the distant radio tower which always seems to be in view throughout the latter parts of the game. You get the standard jump scare sound effect, and the gate opens. It suddenly dawns on you that you must leave the comfort of the house and venture off into his backyard. On the journey to turn on some generators to give yourself some much needed light is when you first see him looking in full view. This part reminded me of the shadow people of Hell Valley, so kind of took me out of the moment, but it did make me speed up and get the hell out of there. The next level, known as the 8 Notes, is the first time that you feel actual fear and dread. The way this part works is that you are randomly dropped off in a spot and must find 8 pages that Kate has written. These change location each time that you play. It's a bit like a Scooby-Doo episode, with each area being a horror cliche. We have a boat on the side of the lake, a building site, abandoned building in the middle of the woods for no reason, an eerie radio tower, and of course a lonely tent in the woods. Has anyone just camped in the middle of the woods outside of horror films? One of the best parts of this section is the trees. One of Slender Man's biggest traits is his long tentacles, and the trees have been designed to make you think that he's there when he isn't. The hardest part of this game is keeping a level head and not panicking. If you do run into Slender Man, and believe me, you will, a lot, it does lose its impact very quickly. You must keep a straight head and get away without panicking and just running into the forest. If you leave the path, then you'll never find your way back, and that's pretty much game over. Once you have all 8 pieces, it's time for the obvious jump scare and then finish the level. Next up we have Creepy Mine, straight out of My Bloody Valentine.
What do you want?
The first time I played this part, I thought it'd be more of the same. A bit like me drinking neat Malibu, crying into pictures of my full head of hair every Friday night. But they decided to switch it up here. Slender Man isn't alone in this part, and boy does it mess you up the first time you see the proxy. I didn't really know anything about this game before playing it, so really wasn't expecting anything other than Slender Man hunting me in various locations. Proxy is a human that Slender Man has taken over to chase you down. I should mention at this point that Slender Man can teleport anywhere he wants, but cannot move when you look at him. Of course, looking at him directly for too long will make his tentacles erect, and you will find yourself shafted, metaphorically and physically. If you see him, you back away and move as fast as you can. You do have the ability to run in this game, but you run out of stamina after using it too much. You never know how much you have left, and once it's gone, just like my hairline. Anyway, the proxy on the other hand can run until he catches you. He can't teleport like Slender Man, but he is always running around until he finds you. You do have the ability to stop him by shining your torch in his eyes, which stuns him temporarily and gives you time to get away. This level involves finding 6 generators to power up the elevator to get to the radio tower. The mine and the forest are by far the best bits of this game. I could carry on here and talk about the flashback levels and with the 2 children and running through the burning forest to get to the radio tower, but the game really starts to get old fast. Slenderman becomes less frequent, the levels are the same creepy setting with fetch quests, and the ending, which I won't spoil here, is lifted shot for shot from the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity. All in all, the game is fantastic. It suffers from the problem that all horror games do, that there's only so many ways to give you a jump scare. This and the repetitive nature of just copy and pasting the levels, but don't let that put you off playing it. The game should be played with good headphones, in the dark, at midnight. After you finish playing, you will spend the next few hours looking out your window to see what the sound is outside. And if you look hard, and the light shines just right, you might just catch a glimpse of... Ah!
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird.